Welcome back. On today's episode, we are kicking off our Women's History Month series, highlighting various elected and non-elected leaders who are making contributions in the Bluegrass State. Kentucky State Treasurer Allison Ball was elected to her first statewide office in 2015, and she's filed paperwork to run for re-election this year, and she was the only Republican candidate who filed to run for the position, so she automatically moves on to the general election contest in November and will take on whoever wins the Democratic primary in May. And once again, Treasurer Ball, thanks so much for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
Let's talk about one of the things that has been another staple of your first term in office, unclaimed property. People who are sitting at home watching the program may not really know what that means, but I know in past interviews you mentioned it's more like the state's lost and found.
Yes.
So update our viewers on unclaimed property and how that relates to what your role is as state treasurer.
Great. Yes, a lot of people don't realize that there's something called unclaimed property, and it's something that my office is responsible for. They know my office has to do with money, but one of the fun things that I get to do is handle unclaimed property. And like you said, I tried to explain it to a group of high school students one time, and I went into this long detail about how we get this property and how it comes to us and the history of it. And they stopped me and they said, wait a minute, are you just describing a statewide lost and found? I said, yes, that's essentially what this is. It's a statewide lost and found. So a lot of times people will somehow lose money. Maybe it's stocks that they've lost track of, some insurance proceeds that they've lost track of, or they put a deposit down on an apartment and they never got it back. And then sometimes it's actual tangible items, like items from a lockbox. And that they've just abandoned the lockbox for some reason. So when the holder of it doesn't know how to get a hold of those people anymore, it comes to me, and the state never takes ownership of this property. It always belongs to the rightful owners, but I have custody of it until I can find the actual owners. So that's one of the things I'm always talking about. I'm always telling people, please go to missingmoney.com. That's actually a national database, so you can look and see Kentucky and in other states as well to see if there's any unclaimed property that belongs to you. And it's really easy to make a claim. You just go through that process and you send it to me, and then I'll send your property back to you. But it actually is a fun job that I get to do. Not everything you do in government is fun. You know, I balance a lot of books and sometimes say no to invoices that I get coming in, so you can make people unhappy when you're doing that watchdog job. But this is the fun job, is that I get to return people's property to them. And like I said, a lot of times it's cash, it's actual cash value. I had an instance not that long ago where it was an estate. This lady had passed away, and they contacted me, and we looked at the stock value, and it was at $1.2 million. So sometimes it's a lot of money. Usually it's not. Usually it's under $100 or something like that. But you never know. I actually had an instance not that long ago where somebody did an interview, and we looked at her unclaimed property, and it was a few $1,000s. And she actually teared up because she had some medical bills. And she said, this is great. This will help me pay these medical bills back. So it's a great experience getting to return people's property to them. It belongs to them. It doesn't belong to the state, and I get to get it back to them. And like I said, sometimes it's tangible items too. We have some military medals. We've got 2 Purple Hearts right now that we're working to return. And talking about Women's History Month, one of those Purple Hearts was a woman recipient, and there aren't that many of those. So we're looking to get those back to people, get them back to the rightful owners. And we have interesting things in the I have a vault. It's all in this vault. Yes, it's a vault. So there's kind of bizarre stuff in there too. For some reason, people keep a lot of teeth. We have a lot of teeth that ends up with us that come from lock boxes that come our way. And then there's fun things like baseball cards and comic books and discharge papers from the military and a variety of things. And you can look it up for your family and relatives and make them happy too.
Well, in addition to websites, you have been very big about transparency and making sure that Kentuckians are aware of how state government is spending their tax dollars, their money. And I know that your office launched a new transparency website previously. So talk about that and how easy it is for people to go on there and check things out.
Right, that's correct. Well, I feel like that's part of my role as a watchdog, is just making sure people know where their money is going. Especially when money's a little tight, and it is tight right now in state government. So you want to make sure your money is going where it should go. And I always want to give taxpayers assurance that they see that the money is going where they want it to, as government is set up. So transparency.ky.gov, that's the transparency website. And I'm proud. I told you earlier that there's always an organization that ranks states on how they're doing. Well, when I first got sworn in, we were ranked 24th on transparency, and we're now in the top 10. And the only change has been the transparency website. So I tell people, you can Google your government. You need to be able to Google your government. And so this is the first big step on transparency. I see this as a step one because I want to make it better and better all the time. But right now it is like Google, and you can drill down different levels. And you can see where your money is going on the executive level and the judiciary. And I'd like to also at some point start including local information too. And I've been talking to different judges, executive across the state about, hey, partner with me on this. We need to be able to have information on all levels about where our money is going, and just so people can see that.
Well, Treasurer Ball, stay with us because we need to sneak in a quick break and get a check of your Weather on the One's forecast, and we'll do that and then continue our conversation with Kentucky State Treasurer Allison Ball. We'll be right back.
And this is the most significant part, is it allows people with disabilities to be able to save money without it jeopardizing the benefits that they're receiving from the government.